Hello and welcome back to Creepy Cutie Crafty. Welcome back to yet another crafting video with me, Heather. Hi guys, how are we doing this week? So yeah, you can probably hear my voice is still a little bit croaky. I've recovered from it wasn't either quite a bad cold or it was a flu, so I'm still sort of playing catch up on that, but I've used my little bit of respite from doing other stuff to catch up with this Goldwork project. So I've managed to get the last two ears of wheat done. I've also managed to get this leaf here and here done. So that's all ready to go. And the last bit I've got to do on here are these three leaves just there. These ones are probably the most complicated ones I'm gonna have to do, but I'll talk you through those in a second. Just before we get going, I'll just explain, as I have every week, that this is a Goldwork kit as sold by Hand and Lock of London. They've been going on for a very, very long time, and in a collaboration between Hand and Lock and Bernadette Benner, they've created the Wheat Sheaf embroidery kit, which uses Goldwork with all these different kinds of bullion and shiny wires and things. Now Hand and Lock are an embroidery and fabric company, and they sell the bullion for the Goldwork, the different kinds of wire that you need, and in collaboration with Bernadette Benner, who is a historical costume vlogger, and she creates costumes using traditional methods and trying to stick to hand sewing and working with traditional fabrics and traditional methods, as I say. And her YouTube channel is absolutely fascinating, and she's one of the people who I watched when I was trying to learn about Goldwork. Yeah, definitely look up both of these guys because they're worth having a look at. So the next part of my project is this on this page, which is the leaves, and so I need to outline all three of these and then fill them in with other bits of bullion. So to do the outline, I'm going to return to the bullion that I've used quite a bit of so far, which has got the gold pearl. Nope, that isn't a typo or a spelling mistake. This is kind of wire. It's much more springy than some of the other ones. The other ones are a bit looser, and this is used to create often the edging. I've used it for the bits of hair coming off the ears of wheat here, and also for some of the stars. And yeah, again, don't take this as a how-to video. Take this as a how not to video, because I'm still fumbling my way through it and trying to work out how to do these things. Now, I'm gonna have to try and do an outline with this one. So I'm just trying to trace it around so I know where to stop. I believe that is there. If it's a little bit over, it doesn't matter too much because I can snip it back. But I'm trying to get a nice clean edge, and I've got myself some of these scissors. These scissors I use just for the bullion now, rather than for anything else, just so that they don't snag on the threads and things. So for this one, it is essentially just couching it down. I'm going to, before I start, so with this bullion, with the pearl and with most of these, the way they work is that they're like a spring, like a coil of wire going along, and I found that the pearl is quite tightly woven, so you need to sort of put it apart slightly, not so much that it distorts it, but just to expose the gap between the curls a little bit more. That way you can have the thread going between the coils, and then that will help to keep it all in place. Now I've got my thread all ready in my needle. My needle is getting funnier and funnier. I don't know if you can see this, guys, but that's my needle now. I've used the same needle all the way through this. They've given me for this kit a collection of needles. There's 4 here, and I'm just sticking to the one. I probably should have changed it at least once or twice, but I'm sticking with this one because I don't want to waste it, if you know what I mean. It's a funny thing, but it's kind of one of the things I've got to hang up about is making sure that I don't, you know, waste what I've got. Because I know it's going to be a bit of a pain to replace them. In fact, I've got a whole collection of different needles that I can use, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. And at the moment, I'm so used to using this needle, I just want to keep going with it. So yes, and I have beeswaxed my thread already. So this is going to be the fun part, trying to get it to curl around the leaf shape without distorting. So it's about there, I think, and that goes to there. So trying to go in almost like evenly on the pearl, so I don't have it just gripping over the coils, so it will hold it all in shape. I'm going to come back and do that bit at the end once I've got the rest of it laid down. It says to do every sort of 4 mil, so that's a bit short. I'll do a little bit more. Nope, that's a bit too far. And there's somebody with a big loud motorbike going past outside. My gosh. In fact, I don't think it's a motorbike. I think someone's come on a little quad bike. They do like riding them up and down on the roads here. It's a little bit dangerous, but you know, young men will be young men, won't they? Anyway, so there we go. It's starting to come together. Come that a little bit further in. There we go. So I've got it right on the edge of the outline here. Now this, just going to try and do it as an outline, not as a like sort of free floating. So it's got to be along the edge of the satin stitched leaves here. Now yeah, these leaves have been sort of satin stitched, as I say, and they're very cleverly go away. They're very cleverly done the satin. They've done the satin stitches in such a way that they are lying in opposition to whatever you're going to put on top. So whatever you put on top isn't going to sink into the lines of satin stitch, which I think makes sense. And there's a bit of padding there as well, so you get a bit of dimensionality with it. So yeah, so it's almost like stump work, but not quite. There is quite a bit of like stump work, like padding and so on and so forth in Goldwork from what I've seen. Some of the methods, some of the, you know, the means of creating using this process are absolutely fascinating, and it's a little bit intimidating, as I said before. I am very, very much intimidated by this craft and by this kit, because it is gold work and it's so fancy and so, you know, teeny tiny and so accurately done, that I let myself be a bit sort of overawed by it, which wasn't a very good idea for anybody, because it meant then that I wasn't actually getting it done, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, but I'm going to keep going with this one. These leaves should take only a week or two, so hopefully that will you know, mean I can move on to my next project very soon. And talking of my next project is going to be the Sashiko handbag that I've been talking about since forever, because I finally want to get it done. Like I said in I think it was last week's video, I'm trying to be a bit more organised about the things that I'm doing, and trying to make sure that when I do videos, I'm not just, oh, I fancy doing this, oh, I fancy doing that. There is an element of that, but at the same time I'm trying to make sure that what I'm doing is, you know, it's kind of more organised. It's got a goal in mind, and once I get to the end of that goal, I can then move on to something a bit more I mean, well, I've got something to show for the end of my projects, because I was very aware that at the end of last year I had like 4 or 5 projects that weren't finished, but were waiting for me to get them done, and I've still got one over there that needs finishing off, which is the hexie quilt that I'm making for my mum and my dad. But I'll be revisiting that once I've got what I need to get in order for that, and that is just to find some space to lay it out and get it all looking good. It's it's been good to get some things finished though. But you know me, I do like to, as someone said the other day, oh my gosh, you do so many crafts. And I'm like, I do, but there's even more that I want to do. I'm a bit of a magpie when it comes to crafting. And if I see the results of a particular craft and I like them, then I go, right, I want to have a go at that one. Right, I want to have a go at that one. Right, and then you wind up just collecting crafts rather than doing what needs to be done in the crafts. And as people have said, you know, collecting craft equipment and collecting and doing crafts are two entirely different hobbies. But at the same time, the whole point about this is that I want to learn how to make things that are not just pretty, but usable or useful as well. And learning processes as I go along, which is exactly what I've been doing. And yes, I'm really hoping that at the end of all this, I can get this Goldwork image turned into a something that I can hang on the wall and show off. The actual idea, I think, from if you look on the Hand and Lock website, was that this piece of cloth and another one that was very similar to it, so there's a big sort of square of this lovely soft velvet. Is beautiful. The texture, it's really soft velvet. It doesn't feel kind of like pilly like cheaper velvet does, and it is beautiful. But there were 2 kits sold as part of almost like a set of 2 that you could do. There was this one and one on the other side. I can't remember what it was. I think it was either a tree or something like that I also had a look at. But the kits aren't cheap, obviously, because you know Goldwork is not a cheap process. And the idea is that you can then have both of these kits, sew them one back onto the other one, and turn it into a little pouch. Right, so I've gone a little bit over there, so what I'll do is I'll come in very carefully here and try and do a snip before I get too close to the end. And yeah, that little bit of bullion, still going to save because I can use it for future projects. But yes, I'm still overlapping the end a little bit, but that's fine because I want it to be able to work around the bit that's going to come up next on here. So if I go up to oopsie daisy there, and then bring that into there. I keep my nail on there so that the thread doesn't tuck itself behind as it goes down, which is what it wants to try and do sometimes. There we go. I think that's gone through. Yep, that's it. And then I can just do another extra stitch, a to be sure stitch, as other YouTubers say, and just use that to anchor that end down. There we go. That little tick noise with it going through the coils on here. Just do another little stitch there, I think, just to make sure it's nice and secure. And then have I got enough thread to? I think I'm going to start a new thread. There we go. So I'll be stitching that off and I'll be back in a second. So see you in a sec. Bye bye. Okay, so I'm back, and yep, I've just tied this off here. So I'm going to try and bring this one back over. It's got a bit of a kink in it now, so that's going to be interesting. So what I think I might do is bring the thread underneath there so that it drags into the right space. But yeah, it's coming on really well now. I'm really pleased with how it's going. Like I say, I put it on the sort of the back burner for months and months and months at a time, and it was staring at me with resentment from my dining room table, which is also my craft table, for many months. And I finally realised that basically I was just feeling sort of intimidated by it, and if I wanted to get it finished, and if I wanted to do the learnings that I was talking about, I needed to actually get the stuff done, get the work done. And so that's what I've done. Like I say, last week I was knocked out with the flu. It wasn't like the worst flu I've ever had, but it was bad enough that I basically had to sort of lie up for a few days. You probably noticed in my last video I was a bit kind of scatterbrained and not entirely with it when I was working. I had to do loads of cuts to the video for Friday, just because I kept on coughing all the way through. But that does mean that I've had the opportunity to catch up on this. So I got the last two little ears of wheat done that I hadn't done. These two over here, they're a bit scattery, but they look pretty good. I mean, I'm looking at the illustration on here. Where is it? In just there. And they're all lovely and laying down perfectly and absolutely beautifully lined up. And mine are a little bit more skew-biff, but I'm not going to complain. I still like them, and you know, I've learned a lot from doing them. So you know, so would I recommend getting this kit or a kit like it? Absolutely yes. If you want to learn about Goldwork, I would say, rather than just getting the Goldwork stuff and starting blind, get a kit that sort of directs you through what you need to do, and get going. I mean, you know, there's no rule saying that you have to start with a kit, but I found that working from this guideline has been very helpful, because it's making sure that I'm doing what I need to do in the correct order, and made something rather pretty. So I'm going to start on the second outline here, and as I say, I've got to do a third outline following these stitches here in the centre. And the thing is, I've got an awful lot left of all the bits and pieces that I need. I use these beads for the moon here, and there's nowhere else that they are, like, you have to use them. So I've got all these beads left to use. I've got a lot of the bright check left. I'm going to have to use some bright check for this, I think. But there's so much left that they're obviously thinking, well, A, in case you make mistakes, and B, so that you can continue using the stuff to either add more decorations to this, or so that you can do your own projects with afterwards, which I think is really lovely. Because this kit, as I say, I got it for my 50th birthday last year, and it wasn't cheap, but it was a one-off thing because it was my 50th birthday. So, you know, hang on, and there we go. And yes, my lovely husband bought this for me, and I'm so pleased with it. I am so pleased with it. It's turned out so much better than I thought it was going to be. And yeah, I absolutely recommend having a look at the Hand and Lock YouTube page, as well as Bernadette Banner's page, because apart from anything else, even if you're not into Goldwork, there's all kinds of costume work, there's other kinds of embroidery, there's, you know, all kinds of explorations of historical representations of like embroidery and other bits and pieces. It's fascinating. The one I was watching recently was she was talking about different TV shows and movies and things, and how they were portraying different kinds of sewing, hand sewing, and needlework and other bits and pieces in different sort of historical dramas and things like Downton Abbey and things like that. And he was saying that, you know, Downton Abbey, there were a few little bits and pieces that weren't right, but technically speaking, they were pretty close when it came to representing people sewing garments and sewing, you know, doing embroidery and doing other bits and pieces like that, which I think is fascinating. It's nice to see that kind of insight into things that we all sort of bypass. And it was like I was saying last week, up until very recently, I'd go to a museum or I'd go to a historical house, and I'd look at quite often they have like costumes and garments on display, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's pretty, yeah, okay, move on. But once I started doing embroidery and sewing of my own, suddenly it became a lot more fascinating, and I'd look at these things thinking, oh my gosh, how did they do that? Oh my gosh, how did they do that? How do I learn how to do that? That kind of thing. And it's the same with, I suppose, doing costume making or, you know, fabric manipulation on movies and TV shows and things, where if you know that subject, if you know that topic, or you know that craft, you're more likely to look at it and go, well, that's weird, that's right, that's wrong. That kind of attitude. It is fascinating to watch. I used to do that when I was looking at jewellery making on TV shows and things, or blacksmithing, because I've done both of those, and you know, my first degree was in jewellery making and jewellery design, so I could say, that's not properly annealed, that's not how you use a drill, that's not how you use a whatever. And it was fascinating. And there's a lot of mystique, I suppose, about making things, especially if you're making things in gold and silver. It's kind of, people don't want that sheen to be lost, do they? They don't want to take away the magic of the process by knowing how it's made. And in many cases, the way it's made is probably a lot dirtier than you'd think. For most jewellers, when they make jewellery, they're very, very aware that by the end of it, their hands and probably their faces are going to be covered in all kinds of muck, because jewellery making itself is a very, very dirty process. But for a lot of jewellery wearers and jewellery purchasers, that idea doesn't make sense, because you've got this lovely shiny thing that you're wearing on your hands or wearing around your neck that doesn't suggest all of the dirt and the muck that has been used to make it. It's fascinating. Ow. And I guess for a lot of crafters, jewellers and others, that mystique makes it much more easy to not reveal your secrets to the world. So you know your particular process and your particular method of creation is unique to you, and also it helps to create almost a fantasy kind of image in your head of what the creative process is, and how your jewel, your whatever, came into being, which, you know, in many ways helps the vendor to charge what the item is worth. Because if we think that making jewellery or making fabric or making embroideries or whatever is easy, then we think, oh well, why am I paying for it to be made? It's an interesting one, but absolutely I think people who are craftspeople definitely need to be paid their worth, no matter what. So yeah. Anyway, this one is going down a lot more easily. In the first one you can see I had lots of little tiny kinks going along it. Just along there you can see all these little tiny kinks, but this one seems to be going down a lot more smoothly. I seem to almost have not quite have my my technique down, because I don't really have a technique yet, but it's coming together. I really hope I'm nice and audible, because my voice is quite croaky still. But yes, I do think it's funny that, you know, in some, you know, embroidery and creative like videos, you can get a whole thing made in 20 seconds, or well, half an hour in my case. But for Goldwork, it takes all this time just to cut down these two little bits of pearl. This is not a fast process. You can't, I mean, if you get better at it, which you know, others have, you can obviously go much faster, but in my case I have to go fairly slowly, because A, I'm struggling to see what I'm doing, and B, I want to get it right. So yep, but it is definitely a process. But it is also definitely a process that I enjoy. But there we go. Yes. Anyway, so yep, I'm looking forward to drawing this one to a close, and then the next project I will be starting after this one, and doing alongside my Whitework project, will be doing my Sashiko project, which is what I've been wanting to do for a long time as well. So yep. Right, this one was bulging out a little bit, so I'm going to try and slip that underneath. And use that to draw it in a little bit. Hopefully that'll make it curve a little bit better. Let's see how we go. Ouch, straight onto my finger. There we are. So yeah, there we go, that's better. I'm going to start my Sashiko project next. I'm looking forward to returning to it, because I really did love doing Sashiko. I wasn't very good at it, but you can't get better without, you know, practice. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what I can create with it. I have ideas. I always have ideas, but I think it's going to be another fun one. They're all fun for me, but yes, I'm going to try and get to the end of this one, and then I'll call it a day on this part, because I need to get on to the next project. Yes. I've really got to work out where to put this ring light, because it really does shade whatever I'm working on, which is not what I want to do, because I'm working on the right hand with my right hand, and the ring light is on the right hand side. It constantly puts the threading in the shade. But all of my stuff, all my like my surface that's got the stand with the ring light on it, and my camera, is all on my right hand side, so I might have to rethink how I'm laying these things out in the future. We'll see though. Anyway, so I'm going to poke that through there, and then I'm going to poke it into there and say that's all for this bit for the moment. I'll finish this bit off screen, but I'll be back in a second to start the next part of the project. I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see how far I got with this practice piece last week. Now I'm hoping to do some more of these sort of practice piece sort of lines with drawn threads around the outside here, but I'll do that next next video, because I want to add a little bit more decoration to this one. So what I want to do is add some sort of teardrop shapes into the corners here like this, but I want to make sure that they all match up. So I've got myself a little template here that I drew before I started the video, and I've got myself my little heat erasable pen. Hopefully this will work, but we'll see. So poking that into the corner there, just trying to get it onto the central one there, and then just drawing the line around it there. It's a little bit bigger than it should be, but that's fine. And then I'm just going to do the same on all the other corners. Let's get that one to there. And I can draw just inside that line so it's more accurate, that's fine. I'll do the same here. Oops, daisy. Now, this is all a little bit shonky and a bit kind of eyeballed and things, because this is literally my practice piece. I'm not calling this a finished piece. I like how it's looking, but it's not something that I would keep as a significant creation, if you know what I mean. The only significance it has is that I've made it, and it's looking good so far. So I've got myself a knot at the end of my thread there. I'll go in here, and what I'll do is underneath, in fact I'll turn it over and show you, underneath here we've got where all these bits and pieces are being made. I'm going to tuck my thread in through there, and then bring it in through there, and then it needs to come out. Where does it need to come out? It needs to come out there. So if I bring it in through there, and then through there, that's close enough. Oops, don't want it to go through there, that's the wrong place. Let's bring you through there, and then I can snip off that knot, and it should hold itself nice and tight. So I mean, I've seen people just do one or two. I always do like 7 or 8 threads through, just because I like to be sure, as we said earlier. So let's get that through, and then I can start going on here. So what I'm going to do here is a very simple double back stitch, holbein type stitch, just to hold it all in place. And I'm trying, rather than going into the holes between the weave, I'm trying to catch actually on the weave itself, so that I can anchor my stitch down a little bit more. And this is just for the outline on the edge. So, oops, daisy, come on, let's go through. So yeah, this should grip it if I remove any of the weave, which is what I'm planning on doing. I'm gonna do some snipping in a bit, but we shall see how that turns out. Again, I'm sort of semi-referencing to the book that I've left all the way over there, so I can't go and get it because I'm kind of caught underneath me embroidery hoop, so I can't really go and get it. But I'll put a link, or actually no, I'll put the name of the book underneath in the description so that you guys can find it. if you want to go and get yourself a copy. It's only a little book, but it's basic whitework information. It's created by the Royal School of Needlework, but it's interesting and it's very useful so far. I am just mucking around and having some fun with this one, because this is, as I say, my practice piece, experimental piece. It's not meant to be properly finished, which I like how it's looking, and I'm not trying to do myself down or anything, but with these blocks here, the cluster blocks that I was talking about, they're all uneven, different size, so I want to try and get one where it is all even and all equal sized, just so I can, you know, A, see the difference, and B, prove to myself that I can do it like that, which I think, you know, is all part of the fun. Anyway, so what have you guys been getting up to this week? As I say, I've been laid up with the flu all week, but I'm still trying to get on with my stitching and prepping for various bits and pieces. Like I say, my next project after doing the Goldwork will be my Whitework project, which is going to be interesting because I'm going to be working not Whitework, it's sashiko. I'm going to be doing sashiko, which is kind of interesting because the reason why I sort of started there and said Whitework rather than sashiko was because it's all done with white thread, isn't it? Well, the majority of it's done with white thread, and I'm looking forward to having a go at some new stitches and trying to get much more detailed with my patterning and things. I've been watching all kinds of videos on how to do sashiko, threading and stitching and patterns and things, and I'm looking forward to it. But there's a few sort of projects and things that I've allowed to fall by the wayside that I really want to go back and revisit and finish properly and get done properly. So we've got things like the bead weaving and bead painting that I was thinking about doing last year, but I want to have a go at doing that this year. It should be a fun little project to have a go at. But also I've got the tapestry frame that I did mean to start again last year, but I just didn't have the time, didn't have the wherewithal at the time. But I'm definitely going to be having a go at that this year, and also going back and doing some more band weaving and spinning and all those kinds of wonderful things. I did start spinning just before Christmas, but again, because I got poorly, I had to do all kinds of catch up on other things, so it fell by the wayside, but doesn't mean I can't come back to it. I'm never going to fully give up on projects, just put them on the back burner and come back to them once I'm actually able to. I do seem to get a lot of bugs. It's just one of those things, isn't it, really? And now I'm going to come back the other way and create my little holbein stitch. Yep. Excuse my stomach, is making all kinds of funny noises. Again, the problem with this being white on white is that it's very hard to tell what's a stitch and what's a weave sometimes, which is where having better eyesight might be helpful. But such is life, you know. But yeah, this is just to create an aching. I'm going to do something in the middle. Like I said, I'm going to have a go doing some snipped threads, snipped weave, but I don't know quite what I'm going to do about that. I've thought about having a go at some proper, much larger sort of shapes around the outside and filling those with sort of block patterning using pulled threads, but I don't yet know what I'm going to do about that. I'm still at the experimental stage. I'm still thinking about what pattern I want to create with this. I was thinking of having a show of how to do things, how to do a pattern design using my iPad, but if I get time today, I'll show that. If not, I'm afraid you're going to have to wait, but we'll see how we go. And as well as all that, we've got about 1 million birthdays coming up. It's that this time of year, most of my family has a birthday. The only outlier is my younger brother, who has a birthday in September, but pretty much everybody else has birthdays in the spring or early summer. So my older brother has just had his birthday, and then it's going to be, and then my niece has had a birthday. She's 1 year old today, well, yesterday I believe, and then it's going to be mine and Squinks' birthdays, and my husband's and my dad's birthday. So literally like 4 or 5 birthdays all within just a month or a month and a half of each other. It's a busy time of year. But that's just how it goes, isn't it, really? Yes. And obviously, with it being Squinks' birthday, it's their 16th birthday, so it's kind of a big one. And we've said that we're going to go to, we're going to do some celebrations and bits and pieces. And I've mentioned to Squinks that we're going to be going to London, because that was what I wanted to do for my birthday last year, but I didn't have the opportunity to. So we're going to try and make a bit of a bigger thing of it this year, and I'm going to have one day of doing the things that I really want to do, which is go to Liberties and to go to a couple of other places. And I want to try and find some fabric and yarn and embroidery shops and things like that, because that was what I wanted to do for myself last year. And Squinks has said that they want to do some shopping as well, but they would like to go to the Pokemon Centre in London and to a couple of other places as well. So it's going to be interesting, I think. Right, so what's happened now is I've got the outline there. So I'm going to bring my needle up through there and then back again, just so that I've got the needle, the thread out of the way, and then come in here. Now I was thinking of doing like 3x3 lines, but if I do that, they're all going to be on the same weave. So here it's on 5x5, which is a bit different because they're much bigger squares, but here it's going to have to be 2x2. So if I want to go 1, 2, this line here and this line here have the same weave. So if I pull this one out, it's going to be opposing to this one, and then so on and so forth. I hope that makes sense. It kind of makes sense in my brain. I'm still working out how to make these weaves make sense, but we shall see how well that goes. So daisy, there we go. That's the first thread snipped, and now I've just got to get it pulled out. So yeah, I'm going to do every third thread will be pulled. Main reason is you want to have enough opposing threads, one going in one direction, one going in the other direction, that it holds itself steady. If you pull too many, obviously it becomes way too loosey-goosey, and winds up having problems with holding the weave together, which is not what I want to happen. And hopefully this is where having these scissors will come in very helpful, because these are much tinier snippy scissors, which I hope are not going to catch the threads underneath, but we shall see. Again, I am not an expert at this. I am very much of an amateur, and as we all know, the word amateur comes from the word to love, because I love doing these bits and pieces, and that's what I'm going to stick to. I was thinking maybe of one day selling my creations, what I've created so far, on eBay, but I really don't think anybody would buy them, but we'll see. Right, so that's 1, 2, and then the third one comes up, and I can hold that like that. This time I'm going to try and hold my needle as I snip We do have a lot of people on the street who really like to let everybody know that they've got really big powerful engines on their cars and motorbikes. It's loud sometimes. They normally do it during the daytime or sometimes in the evenings. Fortunately not at night, but we do occasionally have people coming in and wanting to show how loud the speakers in their cars are. And I do worry about their hearing, because it is so loud that, you know, I can sit here on my sofa behind what was once double glazing but is now not really double glazing anymore. It's very old is what I'm saying. And I can hear every beat of the boom 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 noises of their cars, which is not great, but you know, if it makes them happy, who am I to argue? Usually the first person, but you know, we'll go with that one. There we go. Now, I've said that what I want to do is, after I've done this, I want to do another larger whitework piece, and as I say, I want to try and make it a bit more organised, a bit more well designed, well put together, all that kind of thing, and try to make it a bit more decorative, something that I can possibly hang on the wall. I want to do one using the white hard anger fabric, which is what this is. But then I also want to do one that is on a green linen that I've got, which I think I'd like to have a go at. But I want to do the one on the white hard anger fabric first. The next one I'm going to have a go at, as I say, is going to be the white one on the white fabric, but I don't want to use just white thread, so I want to do sort of mix of whitework and some black work maybe, and I was also thinking maybe chicken scratch, but I think that might be a bit too big, but you know, at least combine whitework and black work, because I think that could be a nice combination. I mean, I know I'm not, you know, teaching your grandmother to suck eggs or whatever, because I know that other people have done that already, but just because somebody else has already done it doesn't mean that I can't have a go as well. That's what I say. And like I say, I'm just sitting here enjoying myself. Now, the one that I want to have a go at is going to be whitework and blackwork and whatever else I decide to throw at it. And I'm thinking that to do the whitework, I'm going to use a combination of the number 8 perlé, this stuff here, and some other embroidery threads that I've picked up previously. Now, I went to the Stafford wool gathering with my friend Lizzy, who is a crocheter. She's a yarn wizard, and we had a good look round. And right at the very end, I went to a felting store and had a look at what they had there. And that's where I bought the buttons that I sent to Christine from Create and Craft with Christine. But I also, oops a daisy, don't want to snip anything that I don't want to snip there. Found that they had some lovely hand-dyed yarn and floss. So from there I picked up these three. So let's have a quick look at these. These are rayon thread, but they're, as I say, hand-dyed, and you can see that they are essentially the same as the number 8 perlé. They're a bit very twisty, but I thought that one of these could do very nicely as a as one of the threads for Whitework. You can see there they are, rayon, and they are lovely. I do like this one quite a bit, and that was from Little Gem Felts, and yeah, they're going to be interesting to work with. I think that could look quite special, but got to get to that point first, haven't we? Well, I have anyway. You guys can get to whatever point you want to. I've just got to get to my point, I suppose. Same as ever. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, we've got a lot going on, and I'm trying to make sure that I do take the time to well, to rest, but also to do the things that I love, which is, you know, as well as spending time with my family and things like that, what I really love is doing creative things, which is what I suppose quite a lot of us enjoy. But yes, I don't know if I'm going to get to the point of being able to weave this. What I might do is pause it there, because I've got about 10 minutes left of filming, and I will quickly do the rest of this bit, and then I'll come back for the last bit in a minute. So I will see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm coming back, and you can see I've taken out the anchoring sort of threads, going sort of, as I say, 3 by 3, going in both directions. So now I come to the next fun bit, which is trying to make a pattern out of these, and see how we go. I'm not going to do anything too fandangly, just do a loop by loop going that way, and then that goes into there. Then I can sort of hide my stitches going into the outline here, and then doing the same going in the opposite direction, like that. There are other ways of doing this. You can do this without snipping the threads if you want to. It is purely down to personal taste, personally, what you want to do. I'm not doing this to an instruction. I'm just doing this as I'm making it up as I'm going along. And yes, have I missed one? I have missed one. Let me just correct that. So that goes like that. Then it goes into the... So I'm making sure I keep onto the sort of same row. And I could go back on myself as well, but I'm not going to worry about that on this occasion. Like that. Then another stitch going through there. And that little anchoring stitch just helps to keep the shape of what we're doing. I may have made an extra stitch snip there that I didn't want to do, so just going to be a bit careful on this bit. There we go. You don't have to tug super tight either, just work it through and do what you need to do on this. I can feel that as I'm going along, it's getting much easier to sort of pillow the threads because they're not supporting each other, so it's difficult to make sure I don't press too much from behind, otherwise it's going to wind up causing issues. There we go, and out through there, and back in through, oopsie daisy, there, and then come up through there. think I would like to research more on this kind of grid work and pulled work for the proper attempt at white work, just so I can make sure I'm getting more complete knowledge of what I'm doing. I mean, I could go for historical accuracy, but I'm not aiming for that at the moment. It's just me playing around and having some fun, which is what I'm doing. So, yay. Anyway, not got a huge amount of space on this one. Oops, daisy. Dropping my needle. Come on. By the way, my fingers are a funny colour because I was doing some dyeing yesterday, and it's gone a bit weird. My finger colour's gone all purple. Such is life. I can live with it. So no, I haven't been battering my hammer, my thumb with hammers. I've just gone a funny colour for a day or two. Such is life. We can live with it, can't we? Yes, we can. Okay, so that's that one done. Bring that into there, and then take it to there. I'm starting to run out of thread, so I need to change that in a minute. I'm going to see what I can do on this one, and I'm going to go in there and come back the other way. And I really like how this is looking. You'll have to let me know what you think of it down in the comments below, because this is turning out, surprisingly, a lot better than I expected. I say that a lot, don't I? It's like I'm kind of always expecting my work to not come through looking all right, but somehow it always does. I'm not entirely sure how, but we should I should enjoy it for whatever I can create, really, shouldn't I? I do like to think that, you know, not like I'm competing with other people. I like to think that I'm winning at doing what I'm doing, and I do enjoy creating. It's you know, soothes my brain. Yeah, unfortunately, I am one of these people who is beset by very strong doubts about my ability, but sometimes I do like to enjoy what I'm doing and tell myself, actually, yeah, I'm a lot better than I thought I was, or a lot better than I tell myself I am. But that's just by the by. I'm just going to change this thread, and I'll be back in a moment. So, see you in a sec. Okay, so I've sorted with that, and I just got to try and remember which way I was going now. So that goes through there. Oops, daisy. That's not quite right. Didn't go far up enough there. There we go. That's a bit better. So the way I'm doing this now is that these threads are crossing over the previous threads, which I think makes a nice little effect. But yes, I think it's working quite nicely. There we go. And then down to here. Nope, that's the wrong way. I was going the wrong way. So I've got to go in there, come out there, and just keep it going. I really do like how this is looking. it's working out surprisingly well. You can imagine having little like seed pearls or other bits and pieces just on the surface here in these little crosses, and I've seen that done on a few bits of whitework that I've had a look at, and I really like how it looks. It's very cool. Now I haven't done this edge, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up to here and do this little bit of crosswork going in the other direction, because otherwise it's going to look a bit weird, or at least it'll look a bit weird to me. But yes, we're getting there. And then come in, oops, there, and go back the opposite way. There we are. And most of this I will be completing off screen, so make sure you keep an eye out for that at the end of the video. And I'll try and share a picture of my Goldwork project as far as it's gone as well at the end of the video. So yeah, let me know what you think of this down in the comments. So I'm going to call it a halt there, because I need to go and get this edited and ready to go up. And yeah, so let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you think of my Goldwork project so far down in those comments. And whilst you're down there, please remember to like and subscribe on all those tiny things that help a channel like mine to grow. It's sort of slowly getting to the point of getting 1,000 subscribers, but I'm waiting for those last 2 or 3 people to just go, yep, this is the channel for me. Anyway, yeah, like I say, let me know what you think of all this effort down in the comments below, and what kind of projects do you think I should have a go at in the future? Do you think I should use these threads for my next bit of whitework? I'd be interested to know what you think, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much again for watching, and bye bye.